This is Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. If Pablo Escobar is the most famous Colombian gangster, El Chapo is the biggest Mexican gangster. In the year 2001, El Chapo successfully escaped from a prison in Mexico. This escape is not really that cool to explain to you guys, but the Mexican police was ready to arrest him. But this arrest took them 13 years. Until in 2014, El Chapo was arrested, and he went to the most secure prison in Mexico, Altiplano Prison. But he was not a regular prisoner. He would buy everybody. Meaning nobody could tell him they're not for sale, because there was a chance that you wouldn't wake up the next day. Since the first day El Chapo enters this prison, he already planned out the escape. He hires people to buy a land next to the prison, build a home, and from the home, start digging and go down. And with the help of a tunnel, get to the bottom of the prison. Where Altiplano is located, it's a rocky area, meaning you can't easily dig your way there and get under the prison. But El Chapo was rich, and this tunnel kept on building because of money. All the rocks were collected with pickaxes and shovels because they couldn't take a jackhammer down there and destroy all the rocks in the way because they weren't allowed to make any noise. Day and night, they dug their way with pickaxes and shovels. El Chapo had the money to bring the most advanced digging machine, but they weren't allowed to make any noise. Between the house and the prison, it was 1.5 kilometers away, 1.5 kilometers of rocky soil. But they were forced to work day and night until the tunnel was ready, because famous prisoners like El Chapo are not kept in prisons for a long time at one time. Especially a prisoner like this, a person that has so much money that he can change everything. On the other side, the brick house that they built started to make people suspicious. Like they would ask, why did they build 4 walls and let it go? And that is why El Chapo told them to work extremely fast. And before we blow our cover, the job is done. The biggest cartel in Mexico was ran under this guy. Not only is he known as the biggest cartel member in Mexico, but he's known as the biggest killer and criminal in Mexico. But after he enters the Mexican prison, he was a really well-behaved prisoner. He would not argue with anyone. He would talk with everybody and laugh, and very quietly would pass his prison sentence. But under the table, there was a tunnel being built underneath them. In the 16 months that El Chapo was in this prison, he was furiously waiting for this tunnel to be finished and was trying to cause no issues at all. Eventually, in 16 months, the tunnel got to El Chapo's cell. This shows the connections he had in the prison because he had the blueprints of it. Because there was no other way for the tunnel to be exactly inside his cell. This was a professional tunnel as well. Not only did it have lights throughout the whole thing, it would pump oxygen all throughout the tunnel. They also put rails that was operated by a motorcycle and would transport the dirt and rocks. This tunnel was 10 meters deep and was connected to the ground via 2 tunnels. One was connected to El Chapo's cell and the other one was inside that house. When the tunnel was ready, El Chapo climbed down and got onto the wagon, and very fast he got to the other tunnel, which was the house outside the prison. So what did they do with all that dirt and rock? The land they had a racehorse track there, and every day they would bring the dirt and just spread it around this track. July 12, 2015 is the time the tunnel is completely finished, meaning the moment the door to El Chapo's cell is gonna open through the tunnel. This is the reason most of the workers in the prison were bought out, because the way that they entered the prisons is they cut the concrete and rebar with grinders, and this was not possible without making any noise. Anyways, El Chapo escaped. The cool thing is, they calculated the tunnel with El Chapo's height in a way where he gets on the wagon, his head wouldn't hit the roof. And the other cool part is that this tunnel was built with engineers, because the places that were soft, they were reinforced with wood. So you could say in the building of this tunnel, at least one engineer worked on it. A lot of people say that El Chapo rode the motorcycle this 1.5 kilometers, but there was also a chance that somebody else was riding the bike and he was on a wagon. In the matter of 2 minutes, he gets to that house, and over there, everything is ready and set up for him. He changes clothes, gets himself cleaned up, gets in the truck, and gets away. But this escape was not only Mexico's responsibility, and just like the escape before, they weren't gonna let go that easily. This time, Mexico's neighbor, United States, was in charge as well, and would pressure Mexico to arrest him. El Chapo would go around Mexico with ease, and even if he had any issues, he would bribe everybody. But one day, he was in the streets of Mexico without a car and noticed somebody was recognizing him. With the bodyguard he has, quickly with the gun, got him out the car and stole his car. The owner of the car quickly called the police that El Chapo stole my car. Even though El Chapo changed the way he looked, but he recognized him. After this report, the entire Mexican force knew what car El Chapo was driving, what he was wearing, and how he looked. They eventually were successful in arresting him. El Chapo tried his hardest to fix all this with money, but they couldn't because they had an order to arrest him. The police that arrest him are confronted with a big problem. They give word to the police that 40 of El Chapo's commandos are coming that way. Since the police didn't want to see them, they escape to a motel nearby. El Chapo starts threatening the police. He says, if you don't let me go, you and your family will be dead. But if you let me go, you and your family will live happily ever after. But the police had orders to keep them and couldn't do anything, and the Mexican Marines were just about to show up, and they were coming to confront the commandos. The commandos of El Chapo could not find this motel, and that is why the Mexican Marines successfully got there and arrested El Chapo. The US government told the Mexican police to not arrest him in Mexico anymore because he can easily escape. Bring him to the US, we'll take care of him. The Mexican Marines give El Chapo to the DEA, and the US takes him to the worst prison in the United States, ADX Florence in Colorado. They call this the new Alcatraz, and El Chapo has a life sentence inside there, and there is no way that he can escape from that place.